This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. Good morning everybody and welcome to the Sunrise Safari. Here we find ourselves in the Kruger Park, or the Greater Kruger National Park on the western edge. My name is James Hendry. On camera today we have got Craig, the Batman. I'll do his thumb for you. That's what he does. We can't do that at the moment because he's holding the camera with two hands. It's marvellous to be with you here. We do have two people out in the Marsi Mara, unsurprisingly. You will know them as the Vov and Gatamba Gitu. They will be joining us very shortly. And I will be on foot here at Juma. My objective today is to find... We actually haven't discussed this at all. I think we'll probably head east and see if we can't pick up on some leopard tracks and maybe get a few elephant sightings under our belt on foot. That will be nice today. Please talk to us using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter or the chat stream on YouTube. You may send us your questions, you may send us your comments, you may send us your insults. But take care if you send us any insults, because we bite back from time to time. Good. We have the sun now. There's the sun coming up at 0500. The temperature today, already a fairly balmy 23 degrees Celsius or so, which I think is about 74 Fahrenheit, if I'm not very much mistaken. And so that's pretty warm to start the day off. Yesterday, I think, was probably one of our hottest days. I don't remember exactly what the temperature was. In fact, I didn't look it up, but it must have pushed 40 degrees or so, 102 Fahrenheit. And I don't think today is going to be much cooler. You know that when you're sweating come 5:05 in the morning, that it's going to be a little bit of a cooker. A couple of woodpeckers calling off to the right-hand side. Otherwise, a relatively quiet morning from the point of view of birds. We still wait for some rain. And if you look around here, this is still rather, I don't know, I think it's slightly distressing myself. I'm getting a slightly drought feeling. There's rain predicted for this week, or there was rain predicted for this week, but it always seems to kind of move out as time goes on. So you look at the forecast and it says it's going to rain in a week, and then you get to that time and it's moved out by another week. We really do need some rain now. None of the dams are holding any water at all. We have got pumped pans. Even Chitwa Dam, well, that's got water in it, but really not very much at all. Someone was asking about my camera training and how that's going. Psych Diva. My camera training, well, it's more sort of practice than training. I think that with the sightings that have an immobile animal, or trees, for example, which are not moving, I think it's going all right. I don't think it's too bad. I must confess that my skills with a fast-moving animal certainly need a lot of work. But, you know, I think they're getting there. Good morning, Tony. Tony Two Toes is talking to us again. It's always nice to hear from Tony. We don't always hear from him, and it's nice to know he's still watching us. Tony, this shirt is not new. No, it's not. It's an old shirt. I'm slightly insulted that you have not noticed it before, that you're disrespecting me by not noticing my shirt from before. This shirt is an old shirt, Tony. I've had it now for about 2 years, so I don't know why you've never seen it before. I'll forgive you this time because you say that it makes me look good. That's good. Thank you, Tony. I feel like I look okay today. You must look good if you're going to be on TV, you know? Thanks, Tony. It's good to hear from you again. There's a bird over there. It's a bird, a starling. It's sitting under the tree there. It's a good one. It's a good bird to see in the morning. It's not a birch or starling at all. It is a taped glossy or greater blue-eared glossy starling. Impossible to tell unless you hear them call or see them in very good light. There is not very good light under that tree. There are also two drongos having a little bit of a spat. No, they aren't drongos. They're also starlings. They're in a little jackalberry tree. has been mauled on many occasions by elephants, and in the top of that tree there are some red-billed buffalo weavers. There's a very nice red-billed buffalo weaver there, Craigus, just to the right-hand side. Just walking along the road there, at least along the termite round. Very good. Let us go up to the Masi Mara, where David Gatambagitu, dressed in camouflage, is ready to greet you in the chilly Mara morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the Mara Triangle. I have to stop now here and say good morning, because what I've been doing, I've been flying low to get to the Sausage Republic. My name is David, and hiding behind the camera is Bunge Bunge. Bunge in our local language means parliament, and Bunge want to show us where the parliamentarians will sit down. And a warm welcome to the Mara Triangle this morning drive. And remember, this is a very interactive safari that we do. Should you have any questions or any comments, please talk to us using hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. My plans today, as I said, is to go to the Sausage Republic. That's why I'm trying to fly low. It's quite a distance from here, and I have not seen them for 2 days, and I am missing them. I have a very passionate, or I have certain attachment with that pride of lions, and that's the eastern horizon there, and the sun has not pushed up as yet, but hopefully it will, maybe in the next 10-15 minutes. It's still a bit dark here and a bit cold. We are talking of 17 degrees Celsius in terms of temperature, or about, it's going 63 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a bit cold. Don't forget, I still have my shuka to keep me warm, and maybe we'll be going to 20 degrees soon, or about 65, if not 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. So stay with us until the end of the drive to make sure we get to the most exciting animals. Those are game rangers doing patrols. And they also work like us. They're out early in the morning and sometimes very late, just making sure everybody is safe. We are safe, the tourists are safe, the animals are safe, no issues of poaching. And for example, if a tourist vehicle breaks down at night and the radio communication is not working very well, they always are very handy to give a hand. All right, I think what I need to do is to get my shuka on, because as the wind blows, it gets into me very much. And I love this shuka. We have a tribe in Kenya called the Maasai people. And the Maasai people wear this. Too many people might call this a tablecloth, but actually it's not a tablecloth. We call it a shuka. It is very similar to another type of cloth called kikoi, and kikoi is worn by people from the coast of Kenya. Okay. And towards the Sausage Republic, we could see anything on the way. And cheetahs we have not seen for quite some time. So telling Bungei, as much as we have a plan, we have a destination, if we see a cheetah, it will be another good prize. So we are out. Me and I like that look when you call it the Sausage Republic. It's me and Stephen who have agreed we have to work very hard and get as many cuts as possible. Well, here in the Mara Triangle, I'm not the only one. There's another gentleman who would like to wave and say good morning to you all.
Good morning, everybody, and another welcome to you from the Mara Triangle in Kenya, where it is shaping up to be, well, once again, another beautiful day. Lovely clouds on the horizon. Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve, and I'm joined once again on camera by Big James. And what a beautiful morning it is. As I'm sure everyone has informed you, please send through your questions, comments, hashtag SafariLive, or throw them in on the YouTube chat stream. We'd love to hear from you. We are looking for the Awina Pride. It's something we've been doing all week, and hopefully we can find them today. Now we're coming into an area we didn't do yesterday. We're going to cut all the way through. And on our way home last night, there were an enormous amount of wildebeest kind of in that direction. So we got a feeling that because we didn't find them up against the mountain, that there's a good chance that they have moved in the direction of all of the wildebeest. And, well, what a special sighting James and I had. We had so many servals last night. We had 5 in total, 3 of which we managed to capture on camera for you. And then as the show ended, we had a very special little surprise. Crossing the road in front of us was a family of 3 porcupines, 2 adults and a little one, a little thing like this. We called them Spike. That was so special. Anyway, jump on board, folks. Let us know what you'd like to see this morning, if there are any special things you'd like to discuss and go over. But to see porcupine, we saw about 10 jackal, we saw a bat-eared fox, we saw 5 serval, and it was just unbelievable for the small stuff yesterday, but no lions. Well, that's okay. That's okay. It's the way it works. The small mesopredators are so important in the landscape. They control the vermin and the smaller sort of prey animals out here. A very important balance between your large and small predators is essential in a healthy ecosystem. We've seen lots of studies where the difference in the states between the lack of coyotes leads to a proliferation of a certain species, and then too many voles leads to a species. It's just very interesting. If you remove wolves out of the landscape, how it can change. So these predators all have a sort of balancing sort of act on themselves, and well, badgers and all sorts like that need to control each other level. They balance each other out. And out here we've got plenty. Lion, hyena, serval we've seen. I mean, I think you had a question yesterday, are they endangered? Most certainly not in the Mara, that's for sure. If they are low in numbers anywhere, it's not here. And well, jackal all over the place. And birds of prey, as you've seen, we've had many, many, many. So we're on the other side of the marsh. The marsh is on that side. This is the swamp. The North Clan has got a den site somewhere in there. This is an area we find the awinos from time to time. An area we didn't really search too well yesterday. We searched that side of it where David had the river pride and the buffalo, but now the buffalo have all gone. Where have they gone? Oh, there goes the hyena. James is about to run through the open there at 10 o'clock, about to come through. Oh, there's 2. One at the back and one about to come out of the gap. There we go. On the left. Just left, James. Left of the screen. Left. There's one. There's 2. There are 2 of them running there. One was in front of the other one. Where are they headed to? What smells can they smell in this early morning? Have they gone and said hello to the North Clan den? Are they from the Olololo clan? It's very hard to say. I am really still trying to wrap my head around the hyena in this area. Generally, just go with the area you're in. But as we've seen with the lions, that does not seem to be the truth anymore. You really have to get right up close and get all sorts of identification features so as to be able to identify these things accurately. Okay. Well, I can hear the white-browed cuckoo calling in the background, the prelude, no doubt, to a rainstorm. And while we move on in search of these lions, let's go over to David Gitu, who's got a predatory bird of snakes.
Steve, because the owinos have not been seen for quite some time. It could be going to 2 weeks, and someone badly need to see them and find out how the 5 are doing, as we got this snake eagle scanning on the ground to find maybe herself some breakfast. This is a black-chested snake eagle, and you can see the angle of how she has turned her head. She's looking at one particular place, and what they do is to pick any movement, in the grass. Eagles are some of the raptors that got very good eyesight, and most of the snake eagles which can spot something as far as 2 kilometers away. Kat, that's a good question. And do we ever see snakes in the Mara? We do. Yesterday, on the drive, though I was not, presenting a segment, I saw a puffer yesterday during the day. And not even in the Mara, even very close to the camp where we live, not once, excuse me, we'll have guys trying to keep the grass down. We'll come running and say, David, I've seen a snake. David, we have seen a snake. Come with your gun, Or not, we never kill them, but we have snakes all over. I mean, talk of black mambas, cobras, pythons, some, green snakes, some that are not very dangerous. And these are I would say, the egos that will feed on those snakes. And that's, as their name suggests, they mainly concentrate on eating snakes, as much as they could also eat rodents, mice, rats. But most snake egos will feed on snakes. That's beautiful background there Bungay is showing us of the Mara Triangle. And one big difference in terms of vegetation between where we are and where James is the openness of this area. You'll see one tree there, as you can see. And what happens, the name Mara is a local name that means a spotted area. From up in the sky, you'll see the trees and the bushes and the rocks and the big boulders looking like spots. And that's why the Maasai Mara is called Maasai Mara, and Maasai are the local people I was talking about earlier because of the shuka I am wearing. Very good job, Bungay. You can see, like from Mara, you can see almost 5 to 10 kilometers straight. It's very open. Ladies, stuff are talking about the shukas, and most of them are fabrics made of cotton. And depending, the Maasai people also, Ladies Starfire, got clans. And depending on the clan that you come from, that's how and when you choose the color you'd want to wear. My great-grandfather was a Maasai, and I have that lineage. And have loved the shukas since I was a young boy. We'll be going back to our snake ego for a few more seconds, because if possibly Bungay can show us the fit, what's the difference between the snake egos and many other egos, because in general snake egos do not have any feathers on their tarsi. We say they're not booted, like other egos which got feathers on their feet. Most snake egos are not booted, we say. Very good, Bungay. And you see, it looks a little bit bare. If you look on the tarsi there, or the talons going up, not as much feathers as you would see, for example, on a tawny eagle or a steppe eagle, or another eagle that's very similar to this from a distance, called the martial eagle. And most snake eagles got rounded heads, as you can see that one, bright yellow eyes, which are very strong. The beak, very characteristic of most eagles, pointed and sharp to rip any flesh they get, and they do very quick work from the snakes they get. And as much as sometimes they also eat venomous snakes, it doesn't hurt them. And we'll be moving from one eagle here in the Mara Triangle in Kenya, maybe to another one in South Africa in Joma.
Yes, it is indeed an eagle here in South Africa. It is the Wahlberg's eagle, one of the couple that lives quite close to camp. On Wahlberg's eagle's nest, Mrs. Wahlberg and her new lover. That is Mrs. Wahlberg, as far as I can work out. And she's making a bit of a noise. And in fact, the babblers are now making a bit of a noise as well. And we think perhaps Hosanna is not far from here. And in fact, also, we've got some grey go-away birds. There she goes. She's going towards... Oh, and now, except now everything's alarm calling because she's flying down towards them. She may actually even dive down on something there. There's a lot of screaming and shouting and whooping and now the babblers are going crazy. I don't know what's going on there. Let's go up out of this river and see if we can't get a bit of height. Minimu, birds are active in the morning for the same reason that you and I are active in the morning in summer. It's because it's cooler, there's a bit of moisture around, and by the time the heat of the day comes, they finish with their, or dispense with their territorial displays and take it a bit easy. That's why most animals are crepuscular, actually. Yes, everything's going mad down in there. Let's just wander around. Herbie's looking for tracks over here. We'll wander around and see if we can't see anything. There's definitely a great deal of consternation. Eagles are going mad. Absolutely crazy. I don't know if it hasn't met the other eagle. The other eagle flew off in the other direction. Ah, there's another eagle being bombed. That looks like the lover of Mrs. Wahlberg. It is. It's her new husband. Being bombed by a brave fork-tailed drongo. Hello, Madison. A raptor is very much a generic term for any bird of prey. So a bird of prey is known as a raptor. An eagle is a specific kind of raptor. So eagles in this area, Wahlberg's eagles, steppe eagles, tawny eagles, African hawk eagles. What else have we got? I'm missing a lot. Lesser spotted eagles. Those are the true eagles that we get here. And then you kind of get some birds that are named eagles but are slightly different, like African fish eagles and the snake eagles. Alright, we're getting close now. Let's walk very carefully along here. If Craig could stop tripping over branches, it would be great. I just want to look down into the dappled light there, that Tambuti thicket, where we do know Hosanna likes to spend a bit of time. Let's just pop our heads over the top here. I got into a lot of trouble the other day when I suggested that the bald eagle, the American national bird, wasn't a true eagle, which of course it isn't, but that's not in any way an insult to the bald eagle. It's just that it's slightly distantly related. There's the Wahlbergs there. It's just not quite it's not quite as closely related to the true eagles as other eagles, if you know what I mean. Of course, the fish eagle's the same. It's very difficult being a cameraman out here, of course, because he's got to watch the screen, which means that inevitably he's going to fall over bushes and things. Now, I don't know what that eagle's doing up there. You can see her. I'm just going to peruse the ground, see if I can't spot a leopard. Maybe. Whoop, whoop. I can hear a cuckoo calling. Alright, we'll have a look around here, see if we don't get lucky with Hosanna. Otherwise we'll move off to the east. Let's go back to the Wharf now with some, well, ambulance donkeys.
Well, thank you, James. Good luck finding the little chief. Well, something we didn't have to look very hard for. Well, it happens every day at about exactly this time on the eastern horizon. we have for you, ladies and gentlemen, another beautiful morning. The zebra in the foreground, some magical clouds all around. There's definitely some rain on the horizon. Off to the right, there's definitely rain falling in the Mara on the other side of the river. So bizarre. On our way out this morning, and last week happened as well, there's thunderstorms south of us in the mountains. You see this electric storm. I've never experienced before a thunderstorm in the morning. Normally a thunderstorm is created by, there you can see the rain. Normally a thunderstorm is created by high pressure cells in the day with lots of friction with the heat, and the passage of air up and down in the atmosphere leads to the thunderstorms. But to have them, and it's the second time, James, remember last time we saw that? It's about a week or two ago. At like afternoon thunderstorms in the summer months are a natural occurrence, and well, this is not an animal we find around Johannesburg anymore. No doubt there used to be herds of zebra enjoying, no doubt, the beautiful morning. Survived the night once again. They are out in the marshy swamp area enjoying the luscious grass. Very quiet and very still this morning. There's almost no wind, and the sun slowly starting to crest over the horizon there. One last look at these beautiful zebra, and then, well, I found an egg yesterday, and it seems like it's hatched, or has David found the father?
Very good, Steve. Don't worry. So long as you're in the bush, something will always happen. You know, you got the ostriches there. You got the zebras there. And I also got something new, some ostrich. And this is a male Maasai ostrich. One of the most striking birds that we got in Africa. It's the only bird that I know of in Africa that does not fly. As much as you can see, he got wings and feathers. Ostriches do not fly. It is a male, and I'm calling him a he because you can tell. If you see a female, these are some of the birds whose sexual dimorphism is very clear in black and white. The females are greyish brown in color. We got another species of ostrich in Kenya that is called the Somali ostrich that you'll get at north of the equator, because the Mara Triangle is at the south of the equator. Basically the same size. Arizona lady, great comment. You love these birds, and me too. Look at their height. I can tell you, Arizona lady, as much as I may not have met you, this bird could be taller than you. And as they walk, you can see how they keep moving their neck back and forth. And I'm sure, Arizona lady, you have heard the proverbial saying ostriches hiding their heads in the sand, because look at the size of the head. Diane, very good question. How many types of ostriches are there? We got two. We got two species. We got this one that we call the Somali ostrich, and the Somali ostrich, mostly you'll see it south of the equator from where we are. In Kenya, going south, Tanzania, all the way to South Africa. But while in Kenya, if you go to the north of the equator, you'll see another species that is called the Somali ostrich. And apparently, Diane, the Somali ostriches, both females of the Somali ostriches and the Maasai ostriches are the same. They're greyish brown in color. But the males are a little different, but only on the necks and the legs. You get this one is a bit pinkish on the neck and the legs, and Somali ostriches are greyish bluish in color. Two very special characteristics between the males here and the Somali ostrich. During the breeding plumage, that neck you see there and the legs are always very deep pink. Like if you get a needle, blood would just spat out. And that's always meant to excite the females. During the day, when after mating, males and females, you'll get the females will incubate the eggs during the day, and the males at night. Look at those wings. Look at that drumstick. Do you want to have a poo? Christine, good question. I might try and remember how long they will stay with the parents, but it's quite some time. And Christine, when the chicks hatch out, apparently both males and females will have the same color, and until after some time is when you can see this sexual dimorphism showing out, and the males will start getting a bit of black, as you can see there, and a bit of white, and the females will tend to remain grayish brown. Christian will be coming back to you, and I'll confirm to you how long the chicks will stay with their parents. And I was saying earlier, at night the males will incubate the eggs because they'll blend in very well in the darkness, and during the day the females will do that, and they tend to brace their chicks together, both males and females. Huge eggs, Christian, they get, and we have always thought maybe one ostrich egg is equivalent to 20 or almost 2 dozen of normal chicken eggs. Huge, huge, and takes a long time to cook one. The village I come from, we used to get or harvest ostrich eggs in the bush. That has changed ever since I came in tourism, and we don't do it anymore. Anna Marie, sorry Lou, I missed that at the end of the question. Anna Marie, thank you very much. Do male ostriches help to raise the chick? Yes, Anna Marie, I'll tell you, the males do a very good job. There are so many birds here after mating and the female lays the eggs, the male, just goes away and it's not bothered. But for the ostriches, I'll tell you, they raise or they help raising the chicks, and they also defend, because sometimes the young chicks of ostriches get predated by, say, lions and other predators. The male ostriches will always be around their chicks until they are fully grown and mature, and they can be independent. Very, very big birds, as you can see him walking out there, disappearing behind that termite mound. And we're going to move forward a little bit and see whether we can catch up with him again. We've got so many farms today where people are raising ostriches, because the doctors are saying the meat from the ostrich has very low cholesterol, if any. I don't know how true that is, but we got those farms almost all over the world now, and I think ostrich meat is quite expensive. And if it is true, then it's fine. Here in the Mara, we don't touch the ostriches, we just let them, do their thing and keep eating. But we got areas in Kenya also where we got many ostriches many farms that are raising ostriches to sell to restaurants, for example, in Nairobi City. Not unusual to see one ostrich walking alone. How is that, Bungay? Good? And if they would be mating, you'd see the male and the female. Sometimes you'll see one male and a couple of females. And one of the most interesting to see about the ostriches is their mating dance. You'll always see the females opening their wings and then dropping them down and turning back and forth, and the male doing the same. And if you see two females competing for the same male, it's always exciting to see how they keep flapping their wings up and down, just like a cappella dancers. The male is not also left behind. He'll always do the best he can to excite the females, but as I said, you'll get his neck and legs looking very pink. People have said almost everything of an ostrich goes to good use. Apart from eating the meat, it has been claimed that their bones are solid, and many people way back used to make some jewelry from their bones, be either necklaces or earrings. And of course the poo, for like most animals out here, is very good for manure or some kind of fertilizer. The skin also people used to make either leather products, handbags, belts, shoes. And they think, I don't know how true this is, the feathers from the ostriches got some kind of static magnet or some kind of magnetic in them. And way back, if I'm not wrong, I remember my grandfather used to say if you could get a small little speck of metal in your eye, you'd get an ostrich feather and it could easily wipe it out. I think that is something quite interesting to know, that almost everything of an ostrich goes to good use. Very good. Ostrich, keep going. And hopefully at one point we might be able to see the female and tear them apart, females being very different in terms of color. James Henry is still trucking in Juma. Carido. Well, the ostrich hasn't gone anywhere, and why did it disappear? It's still there. And I was talking about all the good uses of an ostrich. He's running, I don't know for what reason, and apologies, you might have heard James for a split of a second, then you lost him. It's because of the gremlin. Sometimes we go through, and now what you can only see there is just the neck of this ostrich. I was saying earlier, possibly if you're lucky, we might be able to see a female, and you'll see the difference between the males and the females. Slowly walking there, you can just see the head of him walking through the grass there. They tend to feed on seeds from the grass, and sometimes, you know, just like many other birds, they can pick insects and grasshoppers out there as they walk. And I'll also be moving on and continue with my plants. As I move on, maybe trying to chance on a female for you. Why don't we go back to James Henry?
Sorry about that, everybody. I lay down upon my microphone pack and turned it off. I'll try not to do that again. Okay, we had a few tracks I wanted to show you. The first one is this one here. Now, that thing is, well, there's my hand. You can see my hand. It's quite obviously an antelope. You can see that because it is a cloven-hoofed beast. And it is moving that away, which most of you will know. And at that size, we have two choices. We have kudu or waterbuck. Now, in theory, the waterbucks should be relatively heart-shaped, and this one is not very heart-shaped. It's quite rounded on the sides, but it's not very fat at the back. And so I'm going to go with bull kudu on that one. Bull kudu. So it's all really from a process of elimination. For those of us who must try and deduce what we're looking at, as opposed to just know from sight, which someone like Herbert can do, this is how you do it. So that's a kudu walking along here. I always quite like these ones over here. That is a baboon, and it just looks like a human hand, really, a very small human hand that has been walking along. Can you see that? Sometimes to the very inexperienced they can look a little bit like leopard tracks, but they are not leopard tracks, of course. It is a baboon. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the little thumb comes out there. That is the baboon. I will also tell you that while you were away, we had a fascinating interaction. Those Wahlberg's eagles were alarm calling, but not at Hosanna. It was at a giant eagle owl, and unfortunately we didn't get it on camera, and that's why you didn't see it. But they came and they chased a giant eagle owl, or Varro's eagle owl, way off across the dam. I'm not sure why they would have chased him, unless he poses a threat to a chick, perhaps, that they have. And that both Wahlberg's eagles chased him, the Mrs. Wahlberg and her new husband/lover. And I've never seen it before. They were all shouting at the eagle owl. There were babblers shouting at him, the eagles shouting at him, squirrels shouting at him. He was minding his own business, but none of them were prepared to deal with the fact that there was a Varro's eagle owl in the area, which I thought was very interesting. Anyway, our plan now is to head down towards the central parts of the reserve. We've got Aubrey, who is guiding from Djuma, back at the Gallagher waterhole. He's checking around there. Let's go back to Stivovo now. He seems to have found himself an actual animal rather than the footprint thereof.
Thanks, James. Well, eagle owls are really, really special creatures. The nocturnal version, hunting on the rodents in the grass. We spent some time with a black-shouldered kite a little while ago. He was busy hovering, being the diurnal hunter of the rodents in the long grass. And, well, apparently elephants, many people will say, are afraid of rodents moving in the long grass. I've never seen an elephant freak out to a rodent, but there's been that long-standing sort of story of elephants and fear of rodents. I don't believe it, but some people think it's true. They think the elephant hears them and they're worried it's going to go up their trunk. Some people have even gone so far as to say that the rodent's urine on the grass can actually kill elephants. That's one of the funny stories I heard many years ago. But do you honestly think it's possible that a rodent peeing on the grass, an elephant ingesting such grass, is going to kill an elephant? I don't think so. If anything, it's just urea, or maybe certain rodents are able to produce uric acid as a form of saving or conserving moisture, give off this very sort of concentrated white paste. You see it in birds, the white paste they give off, ability to conserve water. Well, if you get that on the grass and eat it, well, it's probably just going to be a bit salty, maybe taste a bit funny, but is it going to kill the elephant? Definitely not these elephants, I wouldn't say. And they are quite enjoying their munching this morning. The taste of ammonia. Yes, I remember in primary school we did science experiments, and it's when I learnt not to sniff everything I see. Our teacher put all these vials in front of us, and I picked up one and took a big sniff. If you've ever done that with ammonia, it's the most horrible feeling. But there's only one way to learn these things. Take a very gentle, delicate sniff of something. Don't stick your nose into the end of a vial and... Well, go for it. Be my guest, but you will learn the lessons I learned. It's not very nice. Well, talking about lessons, elephants, they're constantly learning from each other. That little youngster there's right next to Mum, trying to figure out how to use its feet. Buffalo, the elephants really start showing their tusks at about 2 years. They're already growing in the head before that, but they're pretty much dependent on mum for suckling up until about 1.5, 2. And you can imagine those tusks, because when the elephant needs to suckle, it lifts its trunk up and it puts its mouth directly to the mammary gland of mum. And if there are tusks there, it just basically impedes the ability to get access to the mammary gland. So they don't really start showing until about 2. But obviously genetically each elephant is different and they will grow at different rates. But at around 2 you start sort of seeing emergence of tusks coming out of the little youngsters. A little bit earlier for some, a little bit later for others. As with a lot of animals, there's some that develop quickly and some that are a little bit slower to develop. There's a wonderful family here out in the open, and they are moving between the thickets and feeding on the beautiful grasses that have grown basically sheltered within inside these little sort of thickets. So there's a shade element, you get grass that's inside, and I've just spotted some more black rhino dung right here with some with some zebra dung on the floor. Can you see that, James? Characteristic sticks. You see the white patch there? I'm not going to get out because there's elephants right here. If you zoom in there, you'll see there's some zebra dung, and then the white sticks there are in fact, see to the right, you see those like 2 centimeter long sticks, one sort of to the bottom of the screen, got a very nice 45-degree angle, a couple of them there, an old rhino midden or dung, black rhino dung, very good. Now that I found one the other day, they are popping up everywhere. So it's not only the elephants who like walking through these areas, feeding on the thickets, the grasses that grow underneath them, but the black rhino will come through and will trim all of these branches with their very prehensile lip and teeth, loving very nice vegetation. And this beautiful lady is going to come a little bit closer and say hello. Hello. Barbara, in general, if you find any ivory, a tusk, whatever it might be, even rhino horn, I've found some rhino horn before, I found tusks, you just give it into whatever conservation or ranger authority you have that you are working with. Storing it or keeping it for yourself is detrimental to your freedom, really. It is in many places illegal to have rhino horn or elephant ivory. Even in South Africa, you're allowed to purchase ivory in South Africa as a South African, but if you find it hidden or you find it somewhere, well, the best thing to do is to hand it in. As a student many years ago in the Timbavati, I found a few pieces of elephant tusk that had broken off in a fight, and well, we just gave those in. And I was actually involved in one day we took a whole lot of ivory that had been found. Unfortunately, the place I worked for many years ago also did some hunting. So they had some elephant tusks. Definitely steered me in a different direction after working there. And we went down to Nelspruit and we got all the ivory, and also they had some rhino horn that they'd found off a dead rhino. And we got it all stamped and serial coded, and it all got sort of marked and then registered and then sent back to the people who owned it. But then that was regarded as legal ivory and legal rhino horn at the time. Maybe it wasn't legal rhino horn, but it was marked and microchipped, and well, everyone would know exactly where it was gone, where it went to. But I went down with an armed guard. It was really quite something. Just bits of bone and teeth in the back of my car, and not my car. We had to go to Conservation Authority or the government body to get them stamped and sort of numbers chiseled in or stamped onto the horns themselves and then registered, marked down in a book. And even with the smallest of pieces, they were marked and registered and accounted for. So invariably you will just hand them in. I remember there were some people that I knew that found there's a big male elephant in the Kruger National Park. His name was Duke, and he had 2 enormous tusks. He was regarded as one of the magnificent 7 elephants, and he broke both of them in consecutive years, I think 2 or 3 years apart, and people found bits of his tusk. Really, really big pieces that had broken off, and now he walks around with 2 stumps. No doubt his ivory locked away and stamped in strong rooms somewhere in South Africa. There are enormous stockpiles of ivory in the southern African countries, Botswana, Namibia and South Africa. Enormous amounts of them. Enormous amounts of rhino horn as well. You see her feeding, pulling up some shrubs, knocking off the roots in the soil. Zach, they say that because it's probably true. Elephants have got an enormous brain, and they reckon there's parts of the brain in elephants that are, the areas of the brain. And I forget exactly what areas of the brain are regarded as the memory area, but they reckon, like in humans, there's quite a large piece of the brain that's regarded as memory, and that the elephants are very well developed in. And being a long-lived animal, an animal that surely learns from each other, they remember roots, they pass down information from generation to generation. And they reckon if an elephant is crossed once or something happens to them, they'll always remember what happened or the area that it happened in. They'll often visit the sites of their dead, their fallen, years and years and years. They'll often find roots that most people would think impossible to find, and they pass those roots on down to each other, and they learn them and hand them down. And so they just reckon elephants have got a very, very good memory, similar to what humans have got, except I don't think they forget anything. How you work it out is very hard to say, but I think it's the cerebral cortex. I'm not sure. I'm very unknowledgeable when it comes to parts of the brain. I used to know a fair bit about the brain, but my brain has shrunk since then. But they reckon that the area of the brain that's regarded with memory in the elephants is quite well developed, as is with us and certain other mammals. Elephants have got an enormous brain inside their head, and well, they do definitely pass on information. They definitely mourn each other's death, and they definitely learn roots and pass on information from time to time. So marvelous creatures, and it's so special to just be able to sit here and watch them. Definitely one of the best animals to spend time with in the African wilderness. Thank you very much, Lou. It's the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, whatever she said in my ear there. Amygdala and the cerebellum. There we go.
Sorry about that, everybody. I'm not sure how much of my original apology you got, but the cliche goes, if you didn't, it's very difficult bringing you a high-definition signal from 2 wilderness areas in Africa, and sometimes we have technical troubles. Well, we do. That's how it works. Thank you very much. I'm not sure what happened. I suspect nobody's quite sure what happened, but we lost the internet, whatever that means. Let's have a look at this bush over here. This bush is one of the nastiest bushes you will find in the Kruger National Park. It is Dalbergia melanoxylon. Even its name is ominous, the zebra wood. And I say it is nasty because it has the hardest, most nasty spikes of any wood out here. Now, if you look over here, you will notice or see that it does not actually have thorns, it has got spikes. What is a spike? Some of you might be asking, many of you may be rolling your eyes because I've told you this before. But a spike is a modified branch that is sharp on the end as opposed to a thorn which is purely there as a spike, if you know what I mean. Get what I'm saying? So you can see that this is going to become a branch, but it is tipped with a very hard point. Now, Dalbergia melanoxylon is one of the hardest woods we get out here. In other words, it's one of the densest. And if you drive over it, even with our remarkable tires, you will often find them punctured. And in the absence of elephants, and this goes for just about every single tree out here, in the absence of elephants, it doesn't grow anything like this. You can see that elephants have smashed it on many occasions. They love it during the winter time. How they manage to eat it with those spines on it, I'm not sure, but they do. In the absence of elephants, it grows into a very large tree, and it's got a beautiful black heartwood. And they make, apparently, clarinets from zebra wood. I'm pretty sure that there are much easier woods to make clarinets from, and yet to meet any clarinet players who can convince me that they have a zebra wood clarinet, but apparently that's what the hardwood used to be used for. But obviously not in areas where there are elephants, because your clarinet would have to be bent at a number of angles if you wanted to make one from this tree, and then it wouldn't sound very good. Not that clarinets sound great at the best of times, really. Just a personal opinion. James, you want to know what I carry in my man purse? Well, I carry makeup because, of course, I'm bald now, and so I need to cover my bald head with some basic powders to stop it shining. I'll carry my mascara. These eyelashes don't look like that by default. And some eye cream, you know, to take away the wrinkles. Sometimes a bit of blusher if I'm feeling a bit picky. No, there's no makeup in here. James, it's actually a camera bag in which there is my phone, in case I need to phone someone or look at a bird app. There's my knife, in case I need to cut something or defend myself from a buffalo. There's a bit of other random camera equipment in there. Most importantly, there is my ash bag. Oh, that's my GoPro. My ash bag is in here. Very important piece of equipment. A sock with some ash in it. And then I have my camera in the main section. I haven't taken a picture on bushwalk for a very long time, but I take it anyway. Like the bag version of cargo pants, apparently, says Louise. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, that's what's in it. Alrighty, let's carry on. Let me tell you what we're doing at the moment. We have done a big loop around. We didn't find any further tracks of Horsana, and so we've just carried on kind of doing a loop around the main dam area and see what we can come up with. We're going to head up towards the clearings outside camp, known as quarantine clearings, and with any luck we'll find something there. In the meantime, let's go back to the Masai Mara, where David Katambagitu is looking at a bird.
We got some stocks here that we call the yellow-billed stock, and it's quite something when you are out on a walk, the stuff that you carry with yourself just in case anything happens. Now these stocks should be in the water, but now they are out. Maybe if you look on their feet, you can see the mud, especially the one at the back there. You can see got like black feet, not because it's black, but just because it had been wading through the water feeding. And Bungay is going to show you the water that I'm talking about to the right of those stocks. These are some wells that will occur naturally, and now it looks a bit dry. You see on the edges there, not as much water, but as Bungay will keep panning, you'll be able to see the water because it's still a bit dry here, just like in South Africa. And that's where they should be. Thank you, Bungay, for that. Spending the better part of the day in the water feeding on any invertebrates or crustaceans in there. And the yellow-billed stock, sometimes we call them the wood stock. And if you look carefully on their beaks, you can see they're a bit yellow, and that's why sometimes we call them the wood stock. Now I think Steve is becoming a specialist of spotting a particular cat in the Mara.
Well, we do indeed, and it's quite relaxed. This serval moving through the open. It's moving very quickly. What's going on? I don't know where it's off to. We've just come across it moving through the long grass, and it suddenly picked up some speed, and it's about to cross in front of us. Look at that. It's definitely not on any sort of stalking. It's probably on its way back to its kittens, probably after being out for some time. Look at those beautiful spots. I love the eyes, the ears, the white lines on the back of the ears. So special to be able to spend time. This is 6 servals in a matter of hours. We got 5 yesterday evening, another one this morning. Our beard, well, we're very special. Another serval indeed during daylight hours this time. And just like that, it vanishes so easily. If you don't keep your eyes trained on it. Having a look at a warthog. I don't think a warthog is down your alley of food, young serval. Well, it does seem like it's on some form of prowl, doesn't it? Standing tall with those legs, stretching out with its neck. Safari Lover says, first I was the rhino whisperer, now the serval whisperer. Well, I can't say I spotted this. It was James who spotted this one, but it is all about the... Ooh, there's an orange yellow-throated longclaw flapping above the bird, above the serval. There's a couple of birds not very happy with this cat. I wonder if it's going to launch out of the long grass and catch them. It is a very, very risky for birds if they have nests on the ground. If servals come marching past, they're able to launch themselves at least 2 meters into the air, which is a really nice, really good jump. So I don't know what's going on, why it is moving as quickly as it's moving, but we're very blessed to... Oh, hello, you beautiful cat. We're very blessed to be able to spend time with it. This is going to now knock down to be my second best serval sighting. First one was not far from here in the open, where we had that female that introduced us to some youngsters. And now this serval's coming all the way back to us. How magical. Beautiful, slender, long neck. Don't you love those stripes on the back of the ears, those white stripes? So come across them, but moving with a real purpose. Well, welcome back, folks. Sorry about our internet connection. We're not sure exactly what's going on there, but we've managed to keep up with this serval, and it's definitely prowling. Definitely just up here on the right-hand side at 1 o'clock. Just there next to that little clump. See how long it takes you to spot it. There it is. Such beautiful colours. It's been moving from little thicket to little thicket. In search of any sounds it might pick up. So definitely number 2 of the serval sightings now for me. The first one, obviously, with the serval providing 2 kittens. You can't really outcompete that now, can you? But we're hoping to see some action from this serval. Imagine we get to see it actually do a pounce or a leap in the air. Something that James is keeping his camera very well trained on this beautiful cat to see what happens. You see the attention as it walks, its ears move left and right, and as soon as it picks up on something potential and has a proper little stare into that direction, training both ears onto the spot, doesn't have that typical cat-like movement when it walks now. It doesn't seem to do the registering when the back feet sit or land where the front feet go. Walking quite quickly. Either very hungry or very inexperienced. And by the fact that it's walking in sort of loops and circles, means to indicate that it's clearly on the search for some food. There hasn't been any sort of territorial spraying or anything like that, so there can't be any sort of territorial patrol happening right now. Primarily a food securing mission. Moves and stops, moves and then stops. Agitated tail of a cat. Mr. Public, most certainly. All predators really compete with each other, and if a predator comes across a predator, regardless of its size or development, will generally try and kill it. It's just the way that predators have evolved. The serval tries to remain undetected, and no doubt if it does spot a larger predator, it'll probably just vanish into the long grass and disappear. But no doubt if a cheetah or a lion or something like that came across one, they'd probably try and dispatch it, but they probably have a hard time trying to catch such an elusively camouflaged cat. But it is the way of the world. Predators will always compete with each other. The food resource, although lions and cheetah don't really necessarily have the same small prey resource that the serval have, but the serval will feed on small foals and lambs that are hidden in the long grass, which will most certainly be the primary food for cheetah. Okay, well, it seems like down in Djuma, James Henry has found some cattle, although of the wild variety.
Here's some wild cattle, if you like. They are buffalo, the African or Cape buffalo, a large herd that has come to the pan at Vuyatela to have a drink, the last sort of fresh water. Now, one or two of the sharper ones have spotted something lurking where we are. Now, we're about 100 meters from them, 300 feet or so, and we've tucked ourselves in behind a fallen marula tree. And so one or two of the sharper ones think that they can see something, but the rest are totally oblivious to our presence here. It's ideal. Now, just to reiterate, our philosophy around walks is to try and view animals without them knowing that we are here. We don't often succeed with that. Well, we do quite often succeed with it, but it's not always possible. But what we don't want to do is affect their behavior. So, for example, with one or two of them looking up, sort of seeing something that they're slightly suspicious of and then carrying on with their lives, that's absolutely fine. That doesn't bug us. From time to time we do make mistakes and animals get a little upset with us, at which point we extract from the situation. But this is a perfect position we have here. We've got the wind in our favour. We've got some good cover. You can see we're sitting on this log. And because buffalo don't have great eyesight, it's not terrible, but because we're not out in the open, we'll just kind of meld into this shape here. And they will most likely not perceive us for what we are. Like I say, one or two of the sharper ones have looked towards this log, but then carried on going. Doesn't seem like they spent a great deal of time having a drink. Looks like they have decided to move off towards the south. There's quite a big herd. I think it's probably the same herd we've been seeing around the place. I think probably about 120 strong, I would say. Well, interestingly, Janine, apparently the lions are on Cheetah Cut Line, which is the eastern boundary of the reserve, probably about 2 miles the crow flies from here. And obviously buffalo do make a noise. They make a big lowing noise. And sharp lions, the wind's blowing the right direction, will be able to hear them from that distance. So it could well attract the Nguhuma pride. I don't know where they're going, because it's not like there's a great deal of grazing down to the south of where they are now. But they're definitely going in a very straight line, making a beeline for something. They might just head into the clearings here and see if they can find some food. There's some sort of sodic clearings in amongst the guarri bushes near that Wahlberg's eagle's nest. Maybe they're just going to head in there. It's lovely to have buffalo back, but of course it's a great big reminder, because for many months we didn't have any buffalo here at all. And that meant that we got slightly blasé about walking around here. And now, with the thickening of the bush and the coming of summer, we need to be very alert. Because if there's one animal out here you really don't want to give a fright to, it's a buffalo. They can get very upset very quickly. A couple of cantankerous old bulls walking at the back. Nancy, I'm not going to do any rain dances. Rain dances I've found not to work. They are embarrassing for the performers, if their performers are me, and I just don't think they work. So I think we're not going to do any rain dances. We're just going to hope for some rain and see if it doesn't arrive. I'm hoping for some this week. There was supposed to be some. I'm not sure if the forecast has dissipated. Alrighty, I know exactly where David Gatamba Gatu is now. He is on the river, obviously, I think, and he's got some sadly billed storks.
Yes, James was here a couple of weeks ago, and I can imagine he knows exactly why I am here. I am here now because there is a birds party going on, and I think there is a kill there, and that's got to the right a little bit. To the right, there's it's eating something. Is it a frog? It's catching something. It's feeding on a fish. How epic is this? And the yellow-billed stork has got herself, I think, a fish there. Do I back up a little bit, Bungay? Oh, you can, yeah, it's coming up. Please come up, we can see you better. It's first killing it now. It got itself, I think this could be a mudfish or a catfish. Let me just back up a little bit so you can get a hold of her. Keep coming. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Yeah, okay. And we just saw a live kill there of a yellow-billed stock. Just hunting and caught herself a fish. So what she's doing is first trying to kill it and then she's going to swallow it whole. Will you believe that? These birds are designed like that. Are you still killing it or do you want to swallow it fast? Or are you trying to crush it to make it small? This is so epic. It's either a catfish or a mudfish. It's too big for your mouth. Hopefully you're going to either make it much smaller for you to swallow it. How cool is this? And oops, don't lose it, don't lose it. And Lou is enjoying this from the final control. Yeah, you either need to make it much smaller. Ivy, you can see the fish is not dead and nothing like sushi. I agree with you, Ivy. And see, she's still struggling to kill it. It's not dead as yet. Ivy, keep watching this and sushi will not match this here. Bungay, do you agree? What did you just spot there? The fish tried to fight back to survive. So the area we are in have a lot of catfish, a lot of mudfish. And I do not know why you need to make it suffer so much. You either kill it quickly and swallow it. Anybody who would be a bit squeamish to see this, you may avoid watch this, but these stocks have to survive somehow. And they eat any invertebrate fish, frogs. You have to go back to the water to kill it. Oops. Be very careful. If you lose it in the water, it will be gone. And my guess is she's just trying to kill her and then maybe swallow it and gonna swallow it whole. It's gone, gone, gone. It has taken so long to kill her, and look at the pace the yellow-billed stock used to. I would think for me that would be a full meal and maybe now taking a bit of water to make sure it goes all the way to the stomach. Yes, you bet, yes, it will have to get a bit of water to wash it down. I agree with you, Lou. And this is how these yellow-billed stocks hunt. And they'll put their beak in the water, but above all, they use their feet to sense. Their feet, below their feet, they got some very special sensors. And as soon as they sense any prey moving, they'll just move their beaks straight down like spears and catch whatever. So they got feelers on their feet. And such a wonderful party because we're looking at the bungay earlier here and we got about 4 different species of bird. You see that one there, the 2 black ones there. These ones are called the sandal-billed stock and they're juveniles. Snazzy, good question, are stocks related to the flamingos? They are not related, different families and different genus. And in general, you'll notice, Snazzy, stocks will be found in fresh water, any freshwater body, be it a well, be it a river, be it a stream, be it a dam, fresh water, that's where you get the stocks. And flamingos, you'll get them in salt water lakes, so they are not related at all, and also their feeding is very different. Flamingos, for example, the lesser flamingo will be, I would say they're vegetarians. They feed on the green algae that you get in certain lakes that are salty lakes. And the greater flamingo sometimes have been known also to feed on both algae and the bigger, worms or any mollusks or any organisms in the water. So basically, they are not related. So we got other species here, and these are the spoon-billed stocks. You see the spoonbill, and they're called so. If you look on the shape of the beaks, it looks like a spoon. And you can see them. They feed very quickly. Of all the stocks here, to me, they're the fastest in terms of feeding. And unlike the yellow-billed stocks, they'll always use their beaks to locate food and grab it quickly, swallow, grab, quickly swallow. But these ones tend to get smaller organisms than the yellow-billed stock. At one point also, I saw a sacred ibis. I don't know where she is. Bungay will definitely get it. I know, yes. You see the one with the black tail there and the black beak that is hooked? This one is called a sacred ibis, and this is one great party of 4 different species, and they've been brought together by one commonality of food. All the crustaceans or invertebrates in here is what they're feeding on. And you see the juvenile sandalbill stock, how different they look from the adults. The adults have very bright coloration. I'll be trying to get a book to have a look at that as you keep watching that. It's so nice to see all these birds enjoying the meal together. You see the yellow bit on the beak of that one? Once they are mature and fully grown, it's bright yellow. And you can tell the males from the females of the sandalbill stocks. The males have brown eyes and the females have yellow eyes. What a nice party they're having here. So the yellow. All right, let's go across to Steve. He got some exciting sighting.
Thanks, David. How wonderful to find those saddlebill stork youngsters. I've found them twice. It's very interesting. Well, these 2 youngsters that are now pretending not to have been playing, the one on the left was actually mounting the one on the right. And there was all sorts of shenanigans going on there. And now they feel embarrassed because they got caught on camera. And now the bigger family member is going to come and get involved and probably show them how it's done. But you can see the 2 elephants there, the 2 very similar sized ones. The one on the left is most certainly a boy because he was mounting, and well, there was a 5th leg doing a bit of a dance, which is probably why David said, let's go to Steve with something exciting. Young mating elephants. But then here is the littlest of babies. Have a little listen. Did you hear them rumble? Here we go. The baby's been given permission by Mum to go and play with the rest. I'm still trying to figure out what this long nose appendage is all about. Now it's in the mix. Hello, cousins and older cousins and everybody. Mum said it could go and play, and now while we wait for that big one to move out the way, we'll see the younger ones having a little bit of a push and shove match at the back. Here we go. There's always that one cousin, isn't it, or brother, that's just bigger. You just want to be friends and play. Oh, here he comes. You just want to play. And the bigger one doesn't want the younger one to play. He just wants to be part of the games. He's the youngest in the herd. It's very cute. Very cute. Trying to figure out how the trunk works, but basically just sticks the mouth onto plant material to eat it. And here, the body language indicates it wants to chase the other one. It was so cool. We saw the 2 youngsters right on top of each other, feet on top. You might see something red in the background, back left there. The balloon breakfast is being set up. Menamu, that's a great question. I mean, it's very possible. I really don't know. What I do know is that there are plenty of plants in the wild that are suitable for toothache. Sicklebush being one of them. If you chew on the bark, it is supposed to alleviate any tooth problems you might have. And well, Tambuti, here we go, look at the ears, look how big I am. Tambuti, a drop of the latex has been known to deaden a nerve within a tooth. There we go. I just want to play. Hopefully they'll come out and play with us on this side of the bush, the only bush in sight, and they decided to do all their action behind. Here we go. The one on the left is far bigger than the one on the right, so there's a good chance it's going to push it out into the open for us. Very important lessons. I said earlier, elephants are always learning. They learn from each other. They need to learn how to push and shove, and they also need to learn how to behave like an elephant. See, the head is up. The one on the left is coming into shot. He wants to play. You want to play, little one? You see how it turns like that? That is a sign of submissive behavior. When an elephant turns its shoulder and looks away, it's an indication that it's backing down or not being sort of aggressive. And when an elephant's tail is up like that, it shows that they're in a little bit of a mood. You don't really need to pay too much attention to babies when their tails are like that, but when an adult elephant tail goes all stiff and stops wagging from side to side, well, you've overstepped some boundary, and you need to pay very careful attention to your next move. The youngster's pretending to feed there. I don't think it's getting too much food in at the moment. Still quite reliant on mum for milk for the next year at least. Sweet history, that's a really good question. And the first 2 years of an elephant's life are basically spent trying to master the ability of the trunk. Obviously, they're able to suckle from mum, which they do directly with their mouth. So they're able to get all the moisture and food that they need without their trunk. So during that first 2 years of sort of that calving interval, that period of suckling, they're constantly practicing and utilizing their trunk, trying to mimic what mum does, trying to pick up what she picks up. But they don't need to have the trunk working until about that stage because, well, they get everything they need from mum's breast by using just their mouth. But constantly using the trunk, practicing, picking up sticks and throwing things and trying to pick up water, but it takes some time. They reckon there's over 100,000 muscles inside the trunk on either side. You've got muscles in the front, which allow it to pull up. You've got muscles underneath, which suck it up this way. You've got them on the left, on the right, which pull it that way, and on the left, that pull it that way. And all of them are independent of each other. And obviously, there's 2 tubes up the nose of the elephant, and each one is for sucking and for pulling and for sucking water up. And so there's contraction inside, there's movement left and right, up and down, enormous amount of ability required. So that takes some time to really, really figure out. And if you see a big elephant feeding, it looks very, very easy for them, but they've managed to really get a handle of all of that. And you can see that trunk is used for everything. So it's always funny when you watch a youngster, and it's like out of control. If you've ever played one of those games where you try and pick up a teddy bear or something inside with that cage, in that cage with a hook that comes down, you've got to try and control that. It takes many, many coins until you're able to figure out how to use that little claw to pick up a teddy bear. Well, it doesn't take 2 years, but there's only a couple of buttons or joystick. There's only one joystick. At elephants, a lot of muscles that need to be trained, and well, they've got time. They've got time to do so. Louise reckons those claw games are rigged. Well, Lou, my friend down in the garden route, he had like hundreds of prizes that he'd won out of those claw games, and he thought he was the man. He thought, I've really dominated the system. But how much money he'd put into that machine, how much money he'd put into that machine was just was bizarre. He thought he was doing very well. He had all these very cheaply made speakers and whatever, and I think he'd wasted a lot of money. But anyway, elephants in the open, daily learning from the youngster. What does things smell like? What's tasty? What's edible? Brilliant. Okay, well, we're going to continue on. We're still looking for our Wino lions. We're not far from the area where we had the herds of wildebeest crossing the road yesterday. Katiana, you want to know if all the elephants in a herd are female? And no, basically the big ones in a herd will be female, and then you can get youngsters varying in ages, and most of the individuals in a herd will most certainly be female, but young boys growing up As soon as they start showing sexual maturity, so anywhere from 12 to 16, 17, they can get pushed away from a herd because they start showing interest in their sisters, even in their mum, and so they get pushed away to go live the life of a male, go find some more males to hang out with. But if you do find a herd, you can quite often find a big male, sometimes two, associating with the herd, and well, he's doing it for breeding, for mating rights. He doesn't do it for fun, for hanging out. There's no sort of social gain that he gets from a food point of view by hanging out with them. It's all about breeding. And often when you do see that, you'll notice he is the biggest in the herd by a long way. And he's often walking around with the trunk outstretched, testing and smelling the ladies and looking for someone who defecated or urinated at some stage a day or two before, and he's been following that trail until he finds the herd, and then we'll go and test every single female until he finds the one who's in fact in estrus. And only the biggest and strongest males are accepted into herds for breeding. The smaller and younger ones generally get pushed away, females preferring the bigger dominant males. But often if you find a herd like this, for example, moving and then 30, 40, maybe 50 meters following the herd closely behind, you might find a group of young males that haven't quite left but aren't really accepted anymore, but they're constantly following still and keeping up with the roots, but just hanging far enough back so that they don't incur any sort of negative behavior from the females. There we go. The youngster is learning from everybody, you see, walking around. Okay, I'll see what you do with your trunk. I don't quite know how that happens, but oh, they are so funny. Young elephants. Okay, well, we're going to move on from our elephants and we're going to go over to David Gitu. Not quite sure what he's got, but let's go and have a look.
Good luck, Steve. I hope you'll see the Owinos and SafariLive. Now I am showing you safari ants. And these are some of the ants that you do not want them to bite you. Always very busy ants, always on the move. And as I said earlier, we call them safari ants because safari is a local Kiswahili word here in East Africa that means a journey or movement or, just moving. And this is exactly what this ant will do 24/7. They do not stop. The ones you see on the side are the soldiers guarding the ones that are mobile, either carrying food to the queen or just maybe going to their nest to lay their eggs. And as I said, you do not want to be bitten by any of these ants, especially the males. Way back in my village, my grandparents used to tell me, should you have got accidentally a cut, and a very deep cut, they would get the males of these ants, and when these males' fangs bite, the fangs just lock, and they would pick a few, maybe 5 or 10 of them, depending on the length or the depth of the cut, and just bring these males to the cut and just put them or put the fangs on the cut, and definitely the ant would bite. Sarah, you say these ants are huge. It's like an army of ants, and they're massive. And Sarah, as I'm just saying, you see those ones with the big heads? The ones with the big heads, Sarah, those are the soldiers. And in general, most of them are the males. And the fangs would lock on the cat. And what happens to these ants, if they bite you, they do not let go. The fangs lock permanently. And afterwards, because they don't let go, people then, after a day or two, remove the remaining part of the body, and that would just secure the cat, and they would just act like, surgeons. And the times we would used to do small little walks from one village to the other, and would go either visiting or looking for girls when we were young boys. And should we go and make an ambush of the next village looking for girls, and where you would stop, if this ant would come and bite you, we had a myth that translated to bad luck. So you not get the girls or you not succeed and you would make a U-turn. Bungay, did you have anything like that in your village? Bungay is saying something related to that, but not exactly. So there's that myth that should you be out doing a particular mission here in Africa, and also here in Kenya, and these ants bite you, whatever you're supposed to do, just go back. King Curtis said this is the most impressive thing you have seen the whole week, and I'm happy to me. I just told Bungay that a few seconds ago. Seeing lions is great, leopards is great, you know, cheetahs, elephants, but this, it's very special because they're in their thousands, and I'm happy you're enjoying it. So the ones on the side, they said they're the soldiers, they're just making sure the females are safe, and they're giving them some safe transition to get to the queen. And if you look carefully, some of them are either carrying eggs or food, and they're heading to the nest. So what these ants will do, if you step on them, they will not bite you. And you'll pick them if you've got some nice shoes with the soles of your shoe, and then they start making their way upwards on your legs. And as they walk further up, once they hit a dead end and they can't move anymore, they get frustrated, and that's when they bite you. When were you last bitten by an ant, Bungay? Bungay says he can't, you know, he remembers very well because the last bite he had almost made him cry. That was 2011. Females are fine, they don't bite as much and it's not as painful, but the males, it's just like a needle pushed through your body or through your flesh with a hammer. What's that? And Bungay is reminding me, these ants are very clever. They'll always choose a soft spot to bite. They'll not bite on the nail, they'll not bite on the knee. They know exactly where to bite, the very soft spot. You can see them in their thousands, and most of them are carrying either worms, the eggs, and taking it to the nest underground. Bungay, yeah, Shimoni Bungay, and 2011, Bungay remembers, and I'm sure he's saying he could not even cry. The tears could not come out. And he looked for that ant, and he says he took a hammer to crush it. Bungay, don't do that in future. Wildlife is wildlife. You don't hurt wildlife. Okay, Bungay? Courtney, you're asking how do you get the ants off, and the best thing you do, Courtney, the moment you feel them just scrolling or walking on your body, I don't know how to say this, but get your pants off and just brush them out. That's the only way to do it, because there are not any other ways. The moment it bites you, Courtney, you've been in a lot of trouble. I have seen people crying or calling for help. Come, David, you got an ant biting me, come. And it's a bit difficult, especially if it's a lady calling you and saying, I got ants on my body, eh? That's the only way you remove them out, because the moment you try to crush them from the inside and you're using your hands from the outside, you don't know exactly where they are. You just crush, and it may be part of the pant, and then the ant again, it will be on your body, walking all over. Thousands and thousands of them, and they'll always have one big leader or a queen underground in the nest. So anytime we walk, we are always very careful, and even the predators here like lions will always avoid these ants, because you'd see a lion having a bite of one of these guys, trying to roll on the ground to remove them, which is pretty difficult for them, unlike we human beings, where we can easily access them and get them out, or just and try and crush them. For animals, it's very difficult. Very social ants. They got very well-defined distribution of labor. We got the soldiers, we got the workers doing the thing. And we also got the females, which are sterile as the nurses, that will always take care of the queen under the nest. And again, as I said earlier, we call them safari ants. And this reminds me of SafariLive. Should you have any questions, please on Twitter, #SafariLive. It's pretty special. Most of them will eat dead matter. That's why you see the grass there remains green. And just like termites, they do not eat anything green. Alrighty. Nancy, good question. Who preys on these ants? I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to avoid them because I also don't want to pick them with the wheels of the car. I'm trying to imagine who preys on these ants. I do not know. Ants we know, I mean the termites we know, will have aardvarks and bat-eared fox. But I think locally here, the bat-eared fox will feed on them and certain birds will feed on these ants. But for the big carnivores, Nancy, I think the bat-eared fox will always feed on them. Not sure about the jackals will do the same, but I can tell you for a fact, bat-eared fox will prey on these ants. Bat-eared fox got so many teeth, flat, and they very quickly grab them and chew them before they bite them. And if you look on the droppings of bat-eared fox, you can see the shells of the ants. Maybe some species of mungus too, Nancy, will eat the same ants, I would guess. But definitely not us. What we eat here, Nancy, are termites. No, not anymore, but long way back in our villages, we used to eat termites, especially when they're coming out from their nests when they got their wings. In that stage, we call them allets, and it's the time when they're most nutritious, when you think they got lots of protein. Alrighty, time to look for the cats now. I think we have done very well with ellies and buffaloes and ants. So this area is called the marsh area, and we usually have two prides of lions here, one called the marsh pride or the marsh breakaway, and another pride called the Mara River Pride. They were seen around here 2 days ago. But of course, lions are very territorial, and they'll always move from one spot to another depending on food, sourcing food or drinking. We're coming close to a herd of elephants here. How is that, Bungay? Stop here or keep going? Ellies are all over the Mara Triangle today. It's a different herd from what Steve had earlier. Bungay, let me know when to stop. Keep going there. Is that good? All right, we've got some ellis there, and I think Bungay thinks we've got a good angle there. It's another breeding herd. Always moving in groups. It's a tiny baby. Not sure the baby wants to nurse. The mother is not interested. Busy feeding herself. Warming up, once you see them starting to flap their ears, is an indication the temperatures must have risen. We started very cold this morning. So termite mines in general, if you look on a little termite, they'll always have bushes that are a lot greener than other areas, because of all the manure they drop, and the termite mounds happen to be very fertile, and anything growing out of it will be green and nutritious, and the elephants will always know that. Like if you look at those two that are feeding the front there, Bungay, you notice they're feeding on a little termite bush, and that tells you they know how nutritious that bush is. Is it time to have a poo? Maybe not. You see the green bush there, and the grass is also much greener than the surrounding area. Very clever animals they are, as Steve was saying before, very high intelligence levels. It's a big cow there, and her tusks look a bit crooked, not really crooked, but the right one is much longer than the left one. And the baby is trying still to sneak to the mom to nurse. It's very interesting when the mother is eating grass and the baby is getting some milk. And she keeps walking, not sure she's interested, and the baby's trying to request the mom for a bit of milk, but maybe not now. She may have to wait a few more minutes. Let's go back to the gentleman who is trucking in South Africa.
Well, we're still waiting for the buffalo now. We've come all the way around them. We have had a view of them. They're being funneled down this gully, or this river, otherwise known as the Great Umarawamati drainage line, and we're going to go and sit on a termite mound and wait for them to come past, because there's a really nice high bank here, and I think they'll just come past us and leave us be. The wind is in a perfect kind of place at the moment, and so we're just going to go up onto the termite mound here and wait and see what happens. As you can see, Tom Sawyer is waiting for us next to on his log. So we're just going to go up and around through this thicket and onto the termite mound, and then we'll wait. There is a chance they'll just go the opposite direction, but I think this is the best place for us to be. Should we go onto the mound? We'll wait here. Okay, we're just going to wait over here actually and see if they don't come past. While we wait, I will have to find something else to tell you. What shall it be? Let's have a look at this tree. And many of you saying hello to Herbie. Thank you for that. Herbie says hello. Here we have a knobthorn tree. This unfortunate knobthorn tree is dead. It is dead because elephants have killed it, murdered it, made it dead, took off its bark for their own selfish needs. And now this tree is going to die. Well, it's dead already actually. But don't worry, it is still a home for many other creatures. And if we look over here, either a carpenter bee or wood-boring beetle, like a... You can hear them coming now. Or a longhorn beetle has got in there and laid its eggs. Its larva will grow up eating the heartwood of knobthorn. Let's hope it grows up happy and safe here in this dangerous place known as the wilderness. I'm obviously talking nonsense here while I'm just waiting for the buffalo to make an appearance, because what you don't want to do with buffalo is get into a position where they kind of know where you are and they think you're behaving like a predator, because then they will start to treat you like a predator, and of course you've seen how buffalo treat predators, and it's not with respect. They either run away or they try and sort of horn them. I don't want to be horned by a buffalo. We're just listening to see if we can hear them going brr, or if we can hear the clashing of their bosses. Snazzy, this tree I don't think is particularly old. Knobthorns grow relatively quickly. Acacias, or in this case Senegalias, are not very hard wood, and so they grow relatively quickly. I think compared to the leadwood next to it, I'd say it's probably less than half the age. So I'm going to say 30 or 40 maybe. That leadwood there is probably in excess of 100. There's some baboons alarm calling behind us. I'm just wondering if these buffalo aren't going to walk straight towards where the Nkuhumas are. Now, the other thing to note here, of course, is that the oxpeckers are giving away where the herd is. You can hear them coming along, chirping at each other as the herd moves towards us. So you can hear them going chip, 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 chip. I'm not sure they're going to arrive in the next 2 or 3 minutes, though. I think while we wait for them, let's go to Steve, wait for him to, or get him to show us something while we wait and see if these buff come along here.
Thanks, James. Well, we were on a road and went into the bushes, and it's kind of disappeared as far as roads are concerned. So we're in the block on what looks like a bit of a 2-track now. And we're just going to try and get out, because in the distance we saw some male lions, but how to get there? Definitely not through here. Maybe. Yeah, we can get through there. Hold on to your horses. So there's some roads through these marshes that are so overgrown that you can be driving along one, and next thing you know, well, this is what you have in front of you. So we're just going to follow this game path. There we go, there's a track. Follow that track all the way back. That'll take us to the lions we can see. There we go, we found the track. Woo! Okay, so this should take us straight back to what look like two young male lions, well, sort of almost adult. And in this area, close to sort of the 50-kilometer mark and the North Clandene site, is there's two nomadic males that Kapuli had a bit of a tangle with. And I'm thinking it's them, just because of the area we're in. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see momentarily when we find them. Behind us in the distance is huge herds of wildebeest. So we were hoping to find lions by following the wildebeest, but obviously we were hoping to find the awinos. But maybe these two males are associating with them. I thought I saw more than two, and then they disappeared, and then just saw the two of them right next to the road. So let's go and have a look, see if we can get any IDs of them. I haven't physically seen them. I saw some clips of them with Kapuli chasing them, but not really too much of a facial shot. Oh, sorry James, a little bit bumpy. There's a number of vultures in the trees around here. Good chance that there have been a kill or two made. And this is the area, as I said, I was hoping to find the awinos, but as of yet, they have not been able to materialize. Well, we only ever temporarily disorientated, folks. We never really lost. But we were driving along the track. It was a very nice track, and then suddenly it just became grass. And that's what happens in these areas. They get very well overgrown. They don't seem to grade the roads. I mean, down in Djuma, we'll cut the grass. Even if you don't cut the grass on those very well trodden tracks, it's amazing how quickly they can just disappear. When we enter to Torchwood, those areas there, they have to cut the grass. Their tracks are very much like this. So if you don't cut them, well, you very quickly lose yourself. And you don't want to do any unnecessary off-road driving. But we're going to be getting back to the main road shortly. I can see the vehicle. It's on the road there that seemingly is still with at least two lions. I can just make out. We will show you as soon as we get a view. Ah, is that more lions there? Is that grass? Ah, everything's looking like a lion today. That is the grass that's been pushed up on the marshy area, the graded area. So I do apologize. Shaking sticks. Every tree a lion falls out. Oh, here we go. The marshy swamp we go through here. Hold on, James. Okay, so we checked this road last night looking for the lions, and well, they weren't here. Just up ahead we definitely have some, but David Gitu has beaten us to the punch and he's found his own cats.
Thank you, Steve. Don't give up. Keep trying, because you never know. You never say never until you're out of the wilderness and back in the camp. Now, I have not been able to reach to the Sausage Republic because I'm getting interrupted by birds on the way or some elephants on the way. But now I have a major interruption of a pride of lions here that we call the Mara River Pride. This is the Mara River Pride of Lions. And they're all on a Taman Mound and trying to focus on something. I think they would get themselves for breakfast this morning. The direction I can see that one looking at, what you can see there is an elephant, which I highly doubt they'll be going for. They need definitely a smaller prey, be it a zebra or a wildebeest. Very, very big, maybe a buffalo or a giraffe or an eland, but elephant. An elephant is definitely out of question. Very social cats, lions are. Always staying together of all the predators we have in Africa. To me, I think these are the most social ones. because the strength in numbers, because they will have to hunt collectively, which makes it easier for them. And this is what you'd call a pride of females and youngsters. The youngsters could be either males or females, and as they grow older, if there'll be some boys in it, definitely they'll be shown the door. And if they don't leave, we'll get the dominant males in this territory coming to get them out. One that avoids inbreeding, but also the males want to have all the rights to mate with the females. So you can see the one standing there is a youngster there. Looks like a young male to me. Big female to her right. And being young, you can see the spots. Thank you, Bungay, because they're all born with dark, tawny spots. And as they age or as they grow older, the spots disappear. It's a young one there, and I think it's a young boy. If you look on the neck, got some little mane coming out. And I'm very happy all of you are excited. Finally, I've found the lions, because it's always a good day to me. Any day you see lions is a great day. Definitely looking at something, not that anything I can see. The elephant I can see from a distance, which definitely that's out of the equation. Yes, and Louis the final controller agrees the lions are the best. And a cat day like today. We had a birding day yesterday, and I was thinking, was it yesterday, Bungay? I think it was yesterday. And I was thinking we should arrange one of the days when we should be having a competition between us here in the Mara Triangle and Jomo in South Africa on a cat day, find out who will see most cats. And there's some impalas in the background there. Are you taking me there? Very good. There could be a possibility of these lions going for an impala. The other day, we had the Marsh Pride, I guess, that brought down an impala. But you see the size of an impala is pretty small compared to such big pride of lions. But when it's an easy option, they'll always do it. That's what predators normally do. And I guess this impala is watching them or can see them. You notice he's quite alert and looking in one direction. And I think the good omen for lions have started also with Steve.
Yes, well, we found them. They are two young males, around the ages of 3.5, somewhere there. The main development is there. The one on the left has got a little bit more development than the one on the right. So in the ranges of between, just before 3 and probably 3.5, I would estimate, just from the development, but still big cats. Still got some growing to do, but in that sort of nomadic stage where they could definitely mate, most certainly, if they find a receptive pride and if they find an area free of bigger dominant males. But for now they seem to be just moving through these open areas, feeding. I think I might have had them one night on our way back not so long ago. And they were even calling, so they even have the tenacity to call within these areas. And well, they'll be listening out for the reply of the bigger, stronger males, and if they feel that they can compete, they will. But invariably they hear a big male calling and they'll move somewhere a little bit further away so as to avoid that confrontation until, well, they're bigger and stronger. But the nomads go through many, many scraps on their way to proper adulthood. Each one of those scraps and confrontations with other lions leads to experience and battled hardiness. But for now, it seems like it's time for a nap. Well, folks, not the Owino pride, that's for sure. And no doubt if these two saw that young male in the Owino pride, there would be something to be said, or some action. Because they would probably want to mate with the females, and, well, if they saw the young male, who was far smaller than these two, they'd probably give him a hiding. but for now they are having a nap right next to the road, as exciting as that might sound. So everyone is quite excited to see them. I wonder if those of you who have potentially seen the two young nomads before, if you can maybe confirm if this is in fact them. Obviously that's not the best picture to go by, but that individual there, quite an interesting sort of mane development for the moment. Still some time to go, still some colour to be developed, but definitely is growing, definitely getting in place. And they reckon with more testosterone development through fighting and through confrontation with other males, even leads to more mane development and to the darkening of the mane. So that's why the thicker set the mane, the more dark it is generally, the more aggressive or stronger or more sort of hardened, should I say, the male is. These two have still got a little bit to go, and their faces are quite pretty. If you have a look, James, right at the face there, you can see that they don't have too many sort of worrying scars on the face. Nothing really to take note of, although there's something above his eye there, isn't there? Both eyes. Typical. We spend the morning looking for lions, and then when we find them, they decide, well, they've spent the morning looking for us, and now they're going to sleep. On our way here, there was a herd of wildebeest, herd of zebra with eland and giraffe. I mean, aren't these guys going to try and give us a show, James? What do you think? They don't look like it. They look like they've had a very, very busy night. Well, no doubt if these two did manage to find any buffalo, it could be quite exciting. But what is exciting is seeing buffalo on foot.
It is exciting seeing buffalo on foot, even though you can't really see them. Well, you can sort of see them. They're not too far from us. We've moved because they did a little bit of a number on us. They've moved the opposite direction. No, the wind is still in our favour, and we're on a termite mound. We've got some good cover, but they are heading straight towards us. And so, oops, bad luck, Craig. So we're going to watch them from this termite mound, safe position, see if they come a bit closer, and then we can just sort of disappear over the back of the mound if they get too close, and then they won't know that we were ever here. But for a slight smell, of course, of Craig's aftershave, which he's not wearing because he doesn't shave. There you can see them coming towards us. Just going to tuck in behind the tree here. Now there's one there quite close by here, to the left, heading straight towards us. So in a situation like this, what you want to do is make sure that you have an escape route that will put an obstacle between you and the animal as you move away, so that even if they do sort of hear a little bit of movement, they won't be able to see what it is. There's one walking onto the termite mound over there. Alright, we're going to move now because they're getting quite close. There's another termite mound behind us. So as you can see, what we'll do now is hold the buffalo all around there. We're going to go down here, put this mound between the herd and us. And we can just have a quick look over the top of the mound, because obviously we're now not exposed on it. I must say it's very exciting to be in the presence of a herd like this. Often with buffalo, especially in the woodlands here, you don't get the best view, but the feeling is wonderful because you have to look all over the place. It's not like with a herd of elephants where there are 8 or 9. They're obviously much bigger. You can kind of see where everyone is. When you're with a herd of buffalo like this, one can pop up at any stage. So you really got to keep your wits about you to make sure they don't see us. Mixing my pronouns there, I apologize. They're still slowly walking towards us, but we're fine here. Herbie's picked another mound behind us, where we'll retreat to if we think they get too close to this one. Alright, we are going to go back to the Mara now to spend a bit of time with the Mara River Pride and David.
Anakam. Yo-yo. Very good, and our lions have not moved anywhere. Excuse me, and I've been expecting them to make any solid move to indicate a hunt, but they haven't done that. They've just been staying together close. It's still a bit chilly, I would say, and if you look at how close they are, is an indication they are also a bit cold, and some of them, like the one on the right there, is so tucked on the ground there, just to make sure she doesn't lose so much of the body heat. This is the Mara River Pride. For those who have never joined us before, lions will go in big groups or in prides. And remember, we do a very interactive safari. Should you have any questions or any comments, send them through using hashtag SafariLive, as these lions keep focusing on a particular elephant at a distance. I don't know what they could be debating on it, because they definitely will not hunt an elephant. They have been known, yes, to go for baby elephants or baby rhinos, but not fully grown elephants. This is the beautiful Mara. As Bungay is showing us there. Bungay is my camera operator this morning, and one of the things I've learned from Bungay, he loves the landscapes, you know. He loves the wildlife to show to all of you nice viewers, but I've also found out he loves the landscapes, including the sky. He is reminding me he also like watching the sky, and that's the horizon of the Mara Triangle. See how expansive and huge it is. Could be anything like 50,000 acres plus. It's massive tract of land with a lot of game in it. Did you get something there? Is it a bird there? Is it an eagle? If it's going to put its head up, could be a snake eagle, that's my guess. Can't see it very well. And if it's a snake eagle, or does it have a long beak? What are you doing up there? Let's see if we're going to see the shape of the beak, and we are going to identify who this is. Excuse me, I could be picking a cold. It's been very cold the last few days in the mornings. Well, I can't see very well, but if the head is a bit rounded, it could be a brown snake eagle. That's the farthest, Bungay, you can go. Alrighty, that's the farthest you can go. Aha, and I think Lou agrees with me, and this is a brown snake eagle. Thank you very much, Lou, for that. Yeah, from where I am, round head, brown, like yellow eyes. It's brown snake eagle. Earlier this morning we had seen a black-chested snake eagle, and snake eagle, like, they like going or perching on very tall trees to look on the ground to look for snakes. Our lions haven't moved. They're still in the same spot, and I just would want them to move, because the last time I saw these lions, they looked hungry, and I'm still convinced they have not eaten anything. Brent, good morning, and you're asking how many prides are in the Mara Triangle of Lions. Let me start counting. Number one is what we have here, the Mara River Pride. We have another pride that we call the Marsh Breakaway. That's the second one. We have a third pride that we call the Owino Pride. My favorite one, the Sausage Tree Pride. We have another pride that we call the Paradise Pride. Those are 5. We have another pride that's called the Olololo. Those are 6. Which one have I forgotten, Bungay? Then there's a 7th one, yes, called Mugoro, which Mugoro has 3 girls with it, always 3 females hanging together. So 7 prides. So 7, trying to remember another one. And there's another pride that's called the Ondonyo Pack. Ondonyo Pack, that makes 8. Let me see, which other one? I would say roughly, Brent, we could be having 10. And the ones that I have offered at the moment are 8. And I'm sure all of you know, or Brent, just to let you know, my favorite one are the sausages, and that were my initial plans to get there. But as I said, I got interrupted by all these eagles in the way, elephants in the way, ostriches, and now this pride of lions here that we call the Mara River Pride. I saw them 3 days ago. They did not look very good in terms of having hunted themselves some food. Today they don't look any better. And let's find out whether Steve's male are up to anything, or they're just lying, looking around like my lions here.
David, they are flat. They're not doing a lot. I think they have had a busy night of moving around and avoiding the prides, the numerous prides you talk about in the Mara. Trying to find a space to fit in between all of these animals must be really tricky. So they are quite flat, and well, we're not sure if they're going to get up and do anything. The temperature is nice and cool. There's abundance of prey in the distance, but they seem to be quite content on their small elevated mound. The thing with being a nomad is that a lot of other lions are trying to get you, so you're a little bit more alert, I suppose, than if you're a bigger dominant male. Because if you're a bigger dominant male, your calling and your scent marking invariably keeps most others away. Only the biggest and strongest will come through that barrier to come and challenge you. But when you're a nomad, you've got to sleep essentially with one eye open. So it's the benefit of hanging out in a little group. 2 males, at least one of them can be looking while the other one's having a bit of a snooze. Definitely a stressful time for young males. They're not associated with prides anymore. They've got to provide all their own food. Every other male that sees them takes insult, takes offense. Kayleen, you want to know what happens when a pride splits up? Well, essentially, the reason for prides splitting up is a food resource, a change in food resource. A pride may be getting a bit too big. For example, say there's 6 lionesses and each of them have a few cubs. Maybe say they each have 2 cubs, so that's 12 plus there's 18 lions, and suddenly 18 lions becomes a very difficult number of mouths to feed, if they are all successful, that is. And so invariably what could happen is 3 lionesses with their youngsters could go left, and 3 with their youngsters could go right, and that is essentially the formation of a breakaway pride. Primarily due to the fact that food resource becomes less available, and to be able to feed those hungry mouths, well, you need to go elsewhere. Otherwise it's just going to be a dog show, really, as they compete. So that's essentially the formation of prides and of breakaway prides. But essentially it's because the youngsters, and normally younger males joining or becoming bigger, they need more food, and invariably auntie doesn't like nephews, and so then they split. You don't see it all the time, but when prides do get to a certain size, that is invariably what happens. But most often than not, many of the established prides that we know of, that I know of, generally stay together, and it's the young males that eventually move off. But those prides that I'm talking about occur in prey-dense areas where large prey occur, giraffe, buffalo, so there's still availability of them. With regards to food out here, there is plenty of food around. I know there's a bit of a seasonality for that, but it does benefit them to be in big numbers. But 8, 9 lions is a good size for a pride. 18, that's a very big pride. Quite often you'll find them split up from time to time as they feed on different animals and then reassociate again. But generally 2 males is quite a sort of average when it comes to coalitions. See, the more you have, the better. 4 being the Birmingham boys, 3 the Avoca males. And when you are in a coalition of 3, 4, 5, much easier to catch the large buffalo. Well, James Henry, I believe he's safe. He's still got his buffalo. I wonder what stories he's got for you now.
Hello everybody, welcome to those of you watching from Hananani, primary school just outside Dixie village. It's wonderful to have you with us. We're sitting here with a herd of buffalo. And he famba hi minenge, so hi chavanyana, hi tarengeta ku vona tinyari so that they don't see us. Mara moya ya famba ngopfu namuntlha. I'm sure mi twile. My name is James, and you can ask us any questions that you want to. Just send your questions through and we will do our best to answer them. Here come the buffalo. We are on a termite mound, high on a termite mound. So it's amalash dulweni, and la it was safe. Kuva tinyar tita tlula either side. Dulweni. So tinyar tita tiva loku ikona, loku moya avaniga our scent. So they've got good noses, they can smell well, they can hear well, and they don't see very well, but they see okay. Now this is good because they're going the other side of the wind, so they will struggle to smell us now. They're very close, only about 30 meters, some of them. That's not very far. So we're just going to stand up here as Dulweni, and we'll see how these buffalo walk past us. And we must talk very quietly. Tavula wula katsongo kotsongo. Kuva tinyari titwa kahle. La seranza lexi ngopfu. Vona tinyari so. Xi kahle ngopfu. Loko mi lava ku vutisa swivutiso, hi ta ringeta ku answer, ku hlamula kahle. Adina, the little buffalo, I'm not sure which one you saw. There was one in front of us that was probably about 6 months old, half a year. You can hear the wind is blowing very hard, but that's okay for us because it's blowing away the sound and it's blowing the scent away. Looks like this buffalo might have seen us. So we're going to go back across to the Masai Mara where David is with some lions.
Well, boys and girls of Hananani Primary School, welcome to the Mara Triangle. You are with James in Juma in South Africa, but now we have gone thousands and thousands of miles from Juma in South Africa to the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And my name is David, and on camera with me today is Bungei. Bungei, hi. Are you excited for the kids? Bungei is saying the first thing he wants to show you are lions, and we just keep quiet and you enjoy the lions. Look at that, boys and girls. Thank you very much for having joined us again like last time. And remember, as we did, or as we agreed, or as James might have told you, excuse me, should you have any questions, please send them through your teachers and asking why are those lions tucked in together like that. Should you have a comment, which pride is this, for example, a question like that is more than welcome. And we call this pride the Mara River Pride. You can see how snoozy they are. And in general, just like most cats that you have at home, once the lions have hunted, they have eaten and have had enough to drink, the only thing they end up doing is to sleep. And that's why you see these ones being sleepy like this. But then also you notice they're very close to each other because it's a bit chilly here in the Mara Triangle this morning. And when you stay close to each other, you stay warm. I'm sure all of you boys and girls, you know or you remember when you were young, or even now as you're still growing, your mom or your dad will hold you closely to give you a bit of body warmth. This is exactly what these lions are doing. They're keeping or consolidating their heat together to stay warm. And you can see that one has his eyes closed. Now, a group of lions like this is called a pride. And a pride will have girls, and girls, we call them females, and some young ones that we would call sub-adults. They could be boys also, they could be girls also, and they'll be living or staying together like this. Once the boys get a bit old, they will leave the group or the pride and live on their own. Criminati, you are asking whether the lions are lying together because they are one family, and you are absolutely right. So this is one family, and it could be a mother, or they could be females which have sisters or first cousins with their children. Their children, in the wilderness language, we call them cubs. So all these lions you see here, they are related. As I said, there could be two sisters with their young ones, or first cousins with their young ones. And I'm talking, for example, your mother's sister and her children, and you forming first cousins. That's how lions live. And of all the cats that we got in Africa, these ones are the most social ones. So you'd see lions from 2, 3, or 4, sometimes even 20 together. But when you look at the other cats or the other predators, let's say cats that we have in Africa, you'll always either see one leopard on its own, a cheetah, on her own, but you rarely see two leopards together unless it's maybe a mother and a cub, a mother and her young one, or maybe a boy and a girl together. But in general, lions are the only social cats that live together in big groups. Again, they say it's a bit cold, that's why they're all tucked together to keep warm. When lions hunt, they could either hunt zebras, Lubavalo, you're asking what's the size of these lions. Now, this pride here, at the moment, I have counted 12. 12, but they are always about 14. But all what you see together, we cannot see all of them, but we have 12 fully grown ones, youngsters, and when together, they are always 14, this particular pride. I was saying earlier, when they hunt or when they feed, they'll feed on animals like zebras or wildebeest, and sometimes they'll go for young buffaloes or young giraffes. We have animals in the Mara Triangle here that we call wildebeest. I'm sure your teachers will show you photographs of wildebeest that move in hundreds or in their thousands. But these lions, as they keep resting here, let us show you a big mammal.
Okay, so the buffalo can still see us. And now the one that originally saw us told all its friends that we were here. And so now we're going to move away, because what we want to do is make sure that they don't live a life of stress. We don't want them to be afraid of us. And that movement away from us indicated that they were quite afraid of us, and that's not nice. I didn't want them to see us, so I'm a little bit sad that they did see us. But sometimes that happens. There's no harm done. They're okay. They're just watching. And now if they see us disappearing, that will be good. Hananani, school, the buffalo are just watching us. Tichava ngofu kuvona munhu. Antivuai. Hikuva la tinyari atihlotiwa hi munhu. Ratichava ngopfu. So sweswi ti la ku vona hi famba kwini. And loko hi fambile ti ta sungula futhi ku dya byanyi. And loko hisa ngopfu ti ta etlela ndzutini. Ti ta kuma ndzhuti ti ta etlela. Ti kola. Providence, buffalo will only have one baby every 2 or 3 years. So only every 2 or 3 years they will have a baby, because they've got a long gestation period, almost 10 months. Now they're just looking at us, and we're going to show them that we are leaving. We don't want to harm them, we don't want to give them irritated, we don't want to make them afraid. So we'll just walk out this way while Herbie checks what's going on at the back. Now, truth, it would be nice to be able to show you this, but we won't be able to now. The male buffalo has got a big middle part of the horns called the boss, and the female doesn't. The female's got smaller horns. Male is also much bigger, just like a bull cow is bigger than a cow. Just like a bull cattle is bigger than a cow cattle. Alright, we've now moved away from them. They can carry on eating grass, go to sleep, and just relax. So, it is dangerous a little bit to walk on foot. Loko out TV gufamba kahle enoveni. Yeah, ingozi ngava riko, mara loko hi cheka moya, usibona ndi cheka moya. Hinkwayo nkarhi ni cheka moya, hi famba hi kwini. Loko hi yingisela kahle, loko hi cheka kahle, hayi vulavula ngopfu la enoveni. Ingozi intsongo, usibona. Mara loko ufika la awuqokanga kahle, mvulavula ngopfu, amingiseli, amicheka moya, ya ngozi ungayitola, ngayikhuma. Kuba tinyari tiko, tindlopfu tiko, tinghala tiko. And swihari hinkwaswo la swi chava munhu, waswivona. And loko xiharhi xi chava munhu, xi ta chacha, waswivona, mi swi twisisa. Na swinyenyana la. It's called African hawk eagles. Beautiful. Alright, ita famba ekaya sweswi, aya fambe Masai Mara na Tingala na David ikatamba kitu.
Kumbuka nikiwa shule, wanaume sisi ndio kunywa pombe. Sasa macho yanakuwa nyekundu kilewa. So macho nyekundu ni ndume. Macho yellow ni kike. That's how you tell. Like sasa hiyo ni njia yako kukumbuka kufanya exam. Ina make sense, ndio? Na wanawake sasa wa kisasa ndio hivyo tena.
Sorry about that. There was a problem there in the Mara. I'm not sure what's going on. Let's see what else we can find here. Now we need to be careful because the buffalo came through this area, right? They're over there now, the big herd. And we need to be careful because often a bull who's a bit tired, an old man who's a bit tired, they can just rest in the shade and leave the rest of the herd. And then you can come behind the herd and give them a fright, and then they can be dangerous. But I don't think that's going to happen. We just need to be careful, especially when the bush is thick like it is over here. We will fix, I hope, very soon the communications with the Mara. Shatika ngovu ku broadcaster, ku filma kahle la enoveni South Africa na Kenya. Ikhule ngopfu. So hina ma engineer atirang gopfula. Nicole, no, that bird that we saw there is an African hawk eagle. They're not scavengers, but there's a good question. It is a bird that eats other birds. So they will fly down and they catch small birds like francolins or guinea fowl. And so they fly, that's what was going on there. They're taking off to fly, and the male and the female, they hunt together. One high up and one low down. And they will try and hunt. And then when the bird on the ground sees the one below and gets a fright and watches the one below, the one high up will come down and catch it. So that's how they operate. I'm going to put my ash bag away now. This little bag just helps me to check which way the wind is blowing when we think that there might be a big animal in front of us. Now, we're going to go down into this deep river. It's nice and cool. It's very hot today. But mitiva. Yukuva miko e Dixie. Mileguswana gahina. Okay. I didn't get to kukuma ingwanyanila. Sisi valungisile timaga masamara fambele ku vona tingala.
Well, boys and girls, the lions have not moved away. And you remember what I told you when we began earlier, that if the lions are well fed and have had enough to drink, the only other thing they will do is just to sleep. And this is exactly what these lions are doing. Not far from where we are, I'll show you a big elephant. I don't know, Bungay, whether you can reach that elephant from a distance here. And I saw them looking, sorry again, at that elephant there. You see there? And this is definitely a very big animal for them. It's just like the buffalo James was showing you, or the buffalo James was showing you earlier. Buffaloes they'll go for, but not elephants. Elephants are too big and too strong, and I would say dangerous to the lions. You see those tusks they got? They would easily kill the lions. A very good question as we come back to our lions. You want to know the lifespan of the lions. It's anything from 12 to 15 years. 12 to 15 years, that's the average lifespan for lions. And the females living slightly bit longer than the males by a year or two. But in general, that's the lifespan of lions, depending on where you are in Africa. Females, we have noticed they live a little longer than the males. And this is a family of females with their young ones. And if you look carefully, you can see that one have some spots on the leg, the right back leg. Is because when lions are born, when they're still young, and when young we call them cubs, they have spots all over their bodies. And as they grow older, those spots tend to disappear. Unlike leopards and cheetahs that are born with spots and they remain with them, lion spots will disappear as they get older. If they are going to wake up and move and maybe hunt, they could either look for a zebra or a wildebeest, but sometimes they even go for small antelopes like impalas. Lord Gretsch, you're asking about the hunting and how that is done. I think I got your question right. But for example, in this family, you'll have one female that will be like the leader of the family or the pride. She makes all the decisions, and once they decide on what they are going to hunt, she'll give instructions to the others. And then you'll see them making or doing something that we call an ambush. An ambush is to lie down and hide, and then the lead female, or the one that is in charge of the family, might go round to the animal they want to hunt, for example a zebra, and then she is going to push it towards the other lions that are laying the ambush or are hiding in the bush. So when this animal is pushed in that direction, they all wake up. And you'd imagine, boys and girls, when you are running somewhere and you see something you do not expect, the first thing, you get shocked for a few seconds. And before you decide what to do, that's exactly what the lions will do. So before the zebra or the wildebeest decides what to do, the lions will jump onto it. And that's how they catch the animals or the prey. You can see there's a bit of wind there. If you look at the grass, it's moving in one direction or the other. And the lions are flicking or shaking their ears. They just twitch them, sometimes out of reflex. And reflex would mean it's just because the bodies are so used to doing that. Well, I am going to leave these lions here because they are a bit flat and they're not doing something interesting. But at least we know how lions behave when they are full and, you know, they have had enough to drink. And it will take you to Steve, who have maybe some of the animals that these lions could eat.
Well, the lions flick their ears because of the flies, and here we have got a family of eland, the very big ones with the horns. They flick their tails because of the flies as well. And at the back we've got mangwa, the zebras, also flicking their tails, all hanging out together in a big group, so that if lions do happen to come around, well, they can help each other and all run together as one. Very, very beautiful animals, the eland. Nice long sharp horns, which they actually will use to fight lions, to defend their babies. And the zebras don't have horns. They run very quickly and they can kick backwards, kicking the lion in the face. Because if the lion catches them, well, it is not a good or happy ending for the zebra if a lion catches them. But it is why the lions are in groups like that. It's easier to catch these big animals if you're in a group. If you're on your own, it's very difficult to catch a large animal. They're very fast, and they're also very big. Sylvester, hello. You want to know what the zebra are looking for? Well, they're walking in a long line now, and they're probably walking off somewhere to go and have a drink. When zebra walk like this, they're generally, well, when most animals walk like this, they're generally going somewhere to go and drink, because they've been eating. They've probably spent a lot of time eating, and now all together they go walking. There's some giraffe as well, some nuntlua. And all the way in the background, some buffalo, nyari, in the background. And so the zebra keep together, and they're going to walk a very long distance, a few kilometers, to go and get some water, because it's very important for them to drink. And this is the time of day when the lions, as you saw with David, are sleeping. So it's the best time for them to move. And that's generally what they do every day. And buffalo, as well as eland, as well as zebra, will walk in the late morning to go and get water. And Sylvester, you want to know why they move in a big group? And it's all to do with lions. Obviously, if there's lots of you, there's much less chance that the lions will catch you. But if you go walking on your own, well, there's only one person or animal for the lions to choose from. And, well, you probably won't be very lucky. But if there's lots of you, there's a good chance of you seeing the lions first, and of you being able to confuse them by running. And also a good chance that it won't be you that they catch. But the giraffe, lots of animals like to hang out with giraffe because that very long neck allows them to see very far. They can see over the bushes and through the trees. And lions that are stalking them, stalking the zebra as well, will be creeping in the long grass. And, well, if you can see as high as a zebra does, you've got a good as high as a giraffe does, you've got a good chance of seeing the lions. So that's why you don't just find zebra together, you find other animals with them, so as the eland and wildebeest and also the giraffe together. And Piwe, you want to know how you tell the difference between a male and female zebra? It is quite difficult from the front when they are walking, but from behind it's much easier. We can't see any from behind though, I'm afraid. The male zebra are slightly bigger than female zebra. When they're young, it's almost impossible. Females are often look much rounder because they have got babies. They're the one in the middle of the screen. She's very round because she's probably pregnant. And the stallion is always a little bit bigger, but it's hard to tell. But when you walk behind or you look behind a zebra, under the tail, the male has got a very thin black line under the tail, and the female's got a very thick black line. That is the easiest way to identify male and female. Aren't they beautiful? See, they're flicking their tails and their ears as well to keep the flies away. And hopefully none of these zebra or eland will find any lions on their way to go and drink. I'm not sure exactly how far David is, but I think his lions are still sleeping.
Yes, that is a possibility. Not once or twice, many times we have seen lions hunting zebras or more so elands. Now, I was talking earlier that we got types of animals that we call the wildebeest, that I'm sure, as I said, your teachers will show you. The wildebeest move in their thousands. In the thousands, I'm talking of sometimes even over 1 million together. And they move between the Mara Triangle, where we are, in a country called Kenya, and then they go to another national park or another area that is called Serengeti. Serengeti National Park is in Tanzania, and these wildebeest move in big numbers. So when the wildebeest are gone and these lions do not have them to hunt, they'll always hunt elands, like that you saw with Steve. The only challenge is the elands have very long horns, I'm sure you know, straight, and sometimes they hurt the lions when they hunt them. Sorry, Lou, are the lions what? Issue with comms a bit. Very good. At 10, you're asking, are the lions all the same age? And they are not. In this group here, if you see the one I was showing you earlier that has spots, that's a young one. It could be about 6-8 months. But of course, their mothers will not, get the cubs or get pregnant until maybe they are 3-4 years old. So they're of different ages. And in a group, you'd get fully grown ones, maybe being 8 or 9 years, and some being 5 years. And like these young ones here, I would guess they could be about 6 or 7, 8 months old. When they get very old, you can tell because they look a bit different. When they open their mouth, when they yawn, their teeth will look a bit yellow because it shows they're old, they've been eating a lot of meat, and that's how you can tell an old lion from a young one. Or the youngsters will still be a little darkish, tawny in color, and the spots are conspicuously seen, like that particular one there. American Lucavallo, that's a very interesting question, and I think I'll be getting your proper answer maybe on the next school drive. What I can tell you for a fact, amazing Lucavallo, if you see a lion like that one you see there, or a fully grown lion, let's get on pen and paper, and we rate about 200, and we give a fully grown lioness could be about 200 kilograms. So your teachers will calculate to you and tell you a lion would eat about 20% of its body weight. So on one sitting, a lion that's about 200 kilograms, will eat about 20% of that, which will be about 40 kilograms. Now, the water, it will vary depending on how thirsty a lion is. So some will take more water than others, and I'll be able to give you the exact answer next time you join us on the school drive. But for the amount of food, they normally eat about 20% of their body weight. Some just go in the water, just lick a few drops and then move on. And I do not think anybody has been able to calculate efficiently how much they can eat. But if, for example, they kill a zebra, we know how heavy a zebra is. And the people who do research on lions, after the lions have eaten, they can go weigh what is left of the zebra and maybe also weigh the lions and tell how heavy or how much they have eaten from the zebra. Now these lions continue sleeping. We'll tell them not good night, it's a good morning because it's still very early here, and we'll go back to James in South Africa, who is on a bushwalk.
Okay, we're standing here now with some elephants, and they don't know that we are here. They're across a little riverbed, and you can see a tiny baby elephant maybe there. And apparently that elephant is only about 4 or 5 days old. It's tiny, tiny. Intsongo ngopfu. Adini, yes, elephants only give birth to one baby at a time. There are records, in other words, some elephants have given birth to twins, but it's not common. It does happen, but it's not common. A little bit like it's not common in human beings, but it does happen. You can see that they are just trying to eat a little bit of wood today, trying to get the bark, because there's no grass. We still haven't had any good rain yet. And there are probably about 5 elephants in here, I think. Milakutiva ikumanjani swihari leswiya. Well, loko hi famba hi minenge hi landza minkondzo hi yingisela kahle tindlopfu letiya hi kume loko hi twa titsoveka ti-branch tinsinya titsoveka tinsinya wa swi vona, so hi yingisela kahle. Tinghala le mara ku na byanyi and va nga vona hi khule ngopfu, so loko va lava ku kuma tinghala va teka tibinocular va vona, and va nga vona tinhloko ya tinghala ebyanyini. Mara la eJuma subsand hi landza minkondzo and hi yingisela kahle. Mi twisisa? I'm sure these elephants are going to go to sleep here just for a little while. There's some more moving in the background. Alright, Muina, vari mita famba sweswi, ndamna vele nhlanhla eskolweni namuntle, tavonana futhi esafari next time. Bye bye. Alright everybody, we're going to go home now. Let's go back across to the Mazimara with the Vov and a sleeping male lion.
Thanks, James. Well, we've come back to our 2 male lions. They haven't moved. Well, if anything, they've just changed position. There we go, just in time to see their faces. Beautiful males. And slowly, as they get bigger, that mane will get bigger, and they'll get more and more scars on their faces. But aren't they regal? Aren't they beautiful? Heads are up. They're looking in the direction where those eland and giraffe and zebra were, but they're quite far away. I can see them in the distance. I wonder if they'll be interested in catching some food this morning. It is still quite chilly, to be honest. The lion could do with a little bit of a walk to warm themselves up. I've still got all my layers on from this morning, which is testament to the weather, the cloud cover. And there we go, back down to sleep. I suppose that's what most of us feel like doing on a cold Monday morning, is just curling back up in our beds. It's one of those favourite things to do, isn't it, when it's raining and cold outside, just to roll over and put the blanket back on yourself. Definitely something I like doing, but imagine going and snuggling up with one of these guys. It might be the last thing you ever do. They do look quite cozy, don't they? Looking quite hard. I don't see any battle scars on them, really. Their mane does give their neck quite warm, I suppose, but you know, when you look at the short fur around the body, they don't really have too much in the way of insulation. But lions seem to survive out here no problem, going through bouts of slumber and bouts of movement. I suppose you all know, if you are a little bit chilly, either get a nice meal of meat in your belly or go for a stroll. Nothing quite like the two of those things to warm you up, keep yourself going. But these two male lions don't seem like they're interested in too much. No doubt they'll probably still be here this afternoon. But I'm assuming still that they are the two nomads that Kupuli has given a runaround. No obvious battle scars to show that he caught any of them. I do believe that there was a little bit of a battle between one of the males and Kupuli, big dominant male of the area. He's been spending a lot of time with the Sausage Tree Pride and the Salt Lick Pride. It's quite further south from where we are right now. But a lovely Monday we are having. James notching a few encounters on his list this morning. David finding lions and obviously some very interesting activities in the Mara. And we've been searching for the Wino Pride without any success. We will continue again this afternoon. Thank you to all of you for joining us. It's been a wonderful Monday morning. I hope to share some more wonderful sightings with you this afternoon. Have a beautiful morning, and we'll see you again this afternoon. Good day.